Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, just in case you didn't know, now you do know. And this week's video is going to be on my 10 essential sewing items. Now I could whittle this down to 5, but really everything on this list is something you will need in order to be able to make clothes for plus size people. And you'll see, I'll give you my reasoning for the items once we get into the list. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Item number 1 is an extra long tape measure. So typical tape measures go about 60 inches, and for fat people, sometimes that's just not enough. You know, it's just, fat people are bigger and you need more tape measures. So I have this one here, and how long is it? It is, I think, 120 inches. Yes. So it's very, very long, like very, very long. It's more than enough for me, and I'm sort of like a very fat person, so that works for me. But if you plan to make clothes for plus size people or for yourself, you are going to need an extended tape measure. And this isn't just like a metal tape measure, it's like a tailor's tape measure, so that you can measure larger bodies. Item number 2 is a large table or surface area to make patterns and cut things on. So I don't recommend using the floor, mostly because if you're already a plus size person, you will more than likely have bad knees, and it'll be a hassle to get down on the floor to do everything and then get back up. So I'm talking maybe it's like a fold-away table with a large top, or it could be your dining room table that you've just put something to protect it over it. I have a Salvation Army table, so like it's not made by the Salvation Army. I bought it from the Salvation Army. It was a whole kitchen like dining room set, and it was this awful pea green color that my grandpa and we stripped it and we refinished it and did the same for all the chairs, and then he built this box that goes over the top, and so that I can do whatever I want, because the tabletop on the table itself has this little ridge in it, makes it really hard to like draft patterns on. So it's just like this big like thing that fits over the top of my table, and so I can damage that as much as I want and it doesn't matter. It won't hurt the actual table. And then what I did, because this is my dedicated like drafting table, is I added big rolling casters on it so I can kind of move it wherever I want in my room. But it really helps me do that. Now if you're not as serious about it as I am, that's totally cool. You can just use your dining room table, just make sure you protect it is all. Item number 3 is a sewing machine. Now this is pretty self-explanatory, but it really sucks to make clothes without a sewing machine. Sewing it all by hand is a total pain. It takes forever, and when you're sewing even larger clothes than normal, you're gonna be there even longer. So a sewing machine. You want one that doesn't feel like cheap and lightweight. You want it to come with a warranty if you can get it. I have a Kenmore sewing machine, which is made by Sears, and honestly I would say get a Kenmore. However, I can't in good conscience recommend that, because in about 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, Sears in Canada is going to start liquidating their stores. Now if you want to get a good sewing machine, that might be a good place to start. However, it's going to mean that all of the warranties on their appliances and like sewing machine stuff will be null and void when the stores close, and all Sears Canada stores are closing. So I mean, you're gonna kind of be SOL if something happens to it. I've had mine for 10 years and nothing has happened to it, but don't want to take that chance. So if you're just starting out and you don't know what to do, get a cheap sewing machine. You just need to have like a good weight to it so it doesn't bounce around the table as you're sewing. Number 4 is a good iron. And along with this is a good ironing board. So that is number 5. A good iron, when you pick it up, it feels good in your hand. All the buttons are sort of where you can reach them on the machine, and it has the functions and the settings that you need. You also want it to have a bit of weight to it so that you're not having to press down and like really use your muscles to press things. And you want it to have a good water reservoir, one that's easy to fill and one that's not going to leak that bad. I would also recommend getting one that has a retractable cord. That's the one I have, and I love it because it means that I can just easily pack it up. I don't have to like wrap it around or anything like that, and it saves the cord. So that's what I would recommend. I got mine from Walmart. I'll see if I can find a good one on Amazon, and I'll link sort of whatever I can find in the description below. With the iron, you need the ironing board. I have one that's quite wide and quite long. So I've seen like mini IKEA ones that are just for your tabletop. If you're really short on space, go with that one. But you want one that's sturdy. You want one that stands up really tall so that you're not hunched over all the time. Because a lot of times when you're sewing, you're hunched over your machine, you're hunched over cutting your pattern, hunched over pressing things. It's really bad for your back, and you know, it makes you not want to sew when you're always in pain. Another tip would be if you just have a like super cheap iron and ironing board that you've already got, take the cover on the ironing board off, put a towel down, and then put a lot of tinfoil underneath, so like one layer of tinfoil, put the cover back on. That will reflect the heat back. It'll make your pressing go faster, it will stop condensation on the bottom, and it just kind of makes it work better in general. Number 6 is using quality thread. I cannot stress this one enough. I was teaching a sewing lesson yesterday, and the ladies had bought like the cheapest thread there was. Basically said, once you've used this up, don't buy it again. Get the Gutermann and the Coates thread because it is much stronger. Several times while they were stitching things, it just like snapped and snapped and snapped and snapped. It breaks easier, it wears out faster, it just is not good quality. And if you want your item that you're making to last a long time, just as long as if you'd bought it in the store, then you want to be using good quality thread. In the same vein, for number 7, you should be using good quality materials. So maybe for your first few projects, use the cheapest materials you can get, because those projects will likely not be wearable. You won't want to look at them again afterwards. Like, when you're getting started, that's fine. But once you're actually into making clothes and trying to fit things well and have things that last a long time, you should be buying good quality materials that will last a long time, that aren't going to, you know, shrink in the wash every time you wash them. They should just be good, and you may have to spend a bit of money on it, but that's kind of, you know, how it works. If you're not willing to spend the money on it, then you might as well just buy something shitty from the store. Number 8 for me is snips. So these are like little snippy scissors. So everybody has scissors, that's fine. They're essential, but like everybody's already got them. These little snippy scissors have like a spring in them, and they're great to put right by your sewing machine, so when you pull it out, you know, pull your project out of the machine, you know, snip off your threads, and they just sort of, they're honestly like the most useful tool I have. And I have about 10 pairs of snips that I'm always losing, but they are an essential. Alright, number 9 is basic patterns that fit. So I've shown you guys my blocks here, these, that are just a basic t-shirt pattern that I traced onto card, and I use that to make a lot of patterns out of. You would want to do the same thing with a legging pattern, so you can make whatever kind of pants you want, and a tailored top so that it has darts and things and you can go from there. I don't wear a lot of like woven materials, I just don't like them, so I don't have that. But those are things based on what you're going to be making that you should have in your arsenal of things so that you can make things that fit you. And I strongly recommend you make the one that fits your size, try it on, and then sort of adjust the pattern accordingly so it fits you perfectly. Now, number 10 on the list is patience. Sewing is something that requires patience at all times. The second you start to get frustrated is when you start to make mistakes. It's when you can hurt yourself. It's when you can accidentally sew on a sleeve inside out, and nobody wants to do that because putting in a sleeve again after you've just managed to sew it in is a pain in the ass. So my number 10 most essential item while sewing is patience. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you coming back and subscribing. If you have not subscribed already, please do. We're really close to hitting 3,000 subscribers, and that was my goal for the year, and I'll be very happy when we hit it. As well, if you think somebody else would enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. I just want to see our little community grow around here. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate all of you taking the time out of your day to watch my videos, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'm happy to answer them. I will see you next week. Bye!